Hello, welcome. Have a seat.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Let's start, I think, big picture. Tell us a little bit about the company and why it's important to be here and how you think about some of these sustainability
Absolutely.
issues.
Well, first of all, it's really great to be here. I love this intimate setting, and I love Delta and putting a little maker's mark on our Delta planes, that connection. So about our company, when you think of Suntory, think about some of our iconic brands. Since 1795, so many consumers around the world have been enjoying our spirits. So Jim Beam, or Maker's Mark, or Yamasaki, or Hakushu, Roku, Lafroig, Tres Generación, just to name a few.
It just goes on and on.
It goes
right?
on and on. So almost any place you were able to enjoy some of our great spirits. And for us, when we think about sustainability, it's really core to our business. Just like you heard from the last speaker, we think a sustainable business and a profitable business are just one and the same. You have to have both in order to be successful. In fact, our parent company, Suntory Holdings, often talks about a vision of growing for good. And it's not growing just for shareholders. It's growing for the good of the environment, for the planet, and for the people. So for us, this Climate Week is just really important to us. It's important for us to be here to talk about what sustainability means to us, to have you touch it and feel it and taste it a little bit later and get a chance to learn a little bit more about us.
So a central element of the way we've talked about it before is water conservation. So like a framing we love at Axios is like why it matters. Can you bring that into why it matters? Why it's important to the business, why it's important to the consumer?
Absolutely, it's super simple. No water, no whiskey.
All right.
So, but I mean, if you really think about it, if you think about the Beam family, or you think about our family from Suntory Holdings, or you think about Lafroig or Bowmore, we really chose the places that our distilleries are located because of the land and because of the water. And so, in Kentucky, where bourbon is really, distilled, it's there because we've got limestone aquifers. And when water goes to the aquifer, it goes through very slowly, and it removes the iron, and it infuses it with calcium and magnesium, giving it wonderful bourbon and whiskey flavors in Kentucky. Same thing in Japan. You've got really fresh, natural waters in the valley where Yamasaki is located, or Lafroig and Bowmore on an island. So you've got the sea and the salt coming off the sea that really helps with the maturation process. So it's all about the water. It's the main ingredient in our products. It flows through every part of the process of distillation, and it's really key that we have good.
It's just a really cool framing about how integral it is. Like, is it an academic exercise?
It is
for
not.
you folks
It's simple.
at all. Well, so let's zero in on that. Like a huge challenge, sustainability conversations is how do you measure and track it? So how do you measure and track
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. So first of all, we start in our own house. So for us, it's about reducing the amount of water that we use within our own operations. And we set a target of 50%, and we exceeded that. So we saved over 5 billion liters of water since 2019. And then we look at it's beyond our own house, so where our distilleries are located, those watersheds are really important to us. So if we're in Mexico and we're making tequila in Tequila, Mexico, we need to make sure we have long-term availability of water. Or if we're in India in Oaksmith and Teachers, or we're in Spain with Larios Gin, those watersheds are at risk. So it's important that we work with other stakeholders within those watersheds, protect that water so that the community can have it for the long term, agriculture can have it for the long term, and we can use it to make our products.
I mean, that touches on a lot of conversations here we've had on the stage today about like no one does this alone, the partnerships. How do you think about both working with other folks in the industry, leading the industry? Like what is the role that you hope Suntory Global Spirit plays in those longer term?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know a lot of people here are sustainability practitioners, but you can't do it one company alone. You can't do it one farmer alone. You can't do it one community alone. It's all about cooperation, or I mix up the word collaboration because I've heard the term recently, co-opetition. So for us, when we look at our watersheds, so many of our peers and competitors are in those watersheds. So we don't compete against each other. We need to really cooperate with each other. And we have projects in Mexico where we have Pernod Ricard, Brown-Forman, almost every one of our peers and competitors involved in replenishing the water in that watershed for the long term. Or when we look at how we engage in regenerative agriculture, our corn growers are growing corn for our peers and our competitors. So it's silly for us to go in and work with one farmer and put in our specific practices. It's better for us to work together and improve that farmer's livelihood in this
I want to keep that sense of, what was the word that you just made up?
Co-opetition.
I'm not even going to try. Collaboration and cooperation. What I love about doing these events, especially here around the UN General Assembly and Climate Week, is that the folks who show up are the folks who care and can actually make a difference. What would be your advice to them when they go back to their agencies or their companies or their countries to be a force for good?
I think that's a great question. One of the things about Climate Week I think that's the best is hopefully we all leave here really inspired. I was listening behind the scenes. I was listening to what she was talking about. It left me inspired. And I know all of us are walking from one area to the next area and hearing people on every stage. And we're in it together. And we're here because we've got the greatest jobs in the world and the greatest opportunities in the world to make a difference. So I hope everybody...
How do you capture that enthusiasm of days like this and take it home with you?
Absolutely.
Draw the connection, I guess, to the individual brands. You've touched on this a little bit, but how you think about some of the sustainability goals and these conservation goals. How do you tell that story, in each individual brand? How do you make that connection for consumers?
Absolutely. Well, I'll focus on one brand in particular, but we have a lot of brands that are activating around sustainability. But Maker's Mark is one that we're super proud and super excited about it. It's about putting the purpose behind the brand. So Maker's Mark, you might not know, is a B Corp. It's the only Kentucky distillery to be a B Corp. It's also committed to regenerative agriculture. So that connection between good soil, reducing chemicals and fertilizers and nitrogen, producing better quality, better ingredients to really produce a better product. They actually started a regenerative alliance. We have a commitment to take conventional farming, 1 million acres, and turn it into regenerative acres. We'll pay for education and training for farmers and landowners so that everybody can join us on this initiative. And we launched, you'll see it in a second, so I won't preempt that, a new whiskey this year. It's an American wheat whiskey. It's called Star Hill Farms, in tribute to the farm where our distillery is located. And it really is an opportunity to really put purpose into our brands so that consumers can see it firsthand.
Well, this has been sitting here right here. And I love every Axios newsletter. I like to end on one fun thing. I like to end our events on one fun thing. I really love doing this with Suntory Global Spirits because they bring things to the one fun thing. This is what you were just talking about, where the lived experience through the Maker's Mark brand. Can you tell us a little more?
Absolutely. So this is a really special product that came out just this year, as I mentioned. And we launched it with the launch of our Regenerative Alliance to celebrate our commitment to regenerative agriculture. We've committed, we actually have 100% of our wheat and our corn is already Regenified certified, and we're on the way to actually have all of our barley as well, Regenified certified. That's a third party that will come in. So you will have a chance to taste
this is my last time on stage for the day, so
Mine
cheers.
Too. Cheers.
Thank you to Suntory Global Spirits. Kim, thank you for being here.
Cheers, everybody.
Oh my goodness! And that's available for when we're done.
As well as our special honey that came right from the farm.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Kim. I'm taking this with me when I leave the stage, but stay tuned. Ben Gaman is keeping the conversation going. Thanks, Kim.